So, Lando Norris to keep his lead into turn one? What's the odds on that? They probably wouldn't be great, I'll tell you. They probably wouldn't be great. Because he's not done well with it so far, it has to be said. So, I'd be interested to see how he manages. Well, let's see what's happening on the feed. Evening, Tilbo. Well, it is afternoon. You're right. It is afternoon. I mean, Max obviously is a little bit down and dejected. The question I would pose to you, I actually don't think there's some huge conspiracy with the whole, braking system and all that. I'm not sure there's any credence in that, but these teams haven't just caught Red Bull. Red Bull have gone backwards. There's no doubt about that, is there? Like, Max couldn't improve on his second lap on new tyres. He couldn't improve on his time from old tyres. And he was almost 7/10 off pole. That's not the Red Bull that we saw last year. And it's not the Red Bull we saw 8-9 races ago either. Other teams have caught. McLaren have now done really well, of course. But I was reading an interview with Jos Verstappen, and apparently Jos Verstappen said that at the beginning of the season, Max was telling Red Bull that the balance of the car wasn't right. But they were so much further ahead than everyone else that, yes, the balance wasn't right. Yes, he was having understeer, but he was able to make it work because the other teams weren't fast enough. But now that those other teams have caught up, those balance issues now are a lot more of an issue. So apparently he was telling the team that there was a problem with the balance of the car from very, very early on. It's just, I'm not saying they didn't listen, but maybe they didn't appreciate how much of an issue it was going to be, or I don't know. But it's now a huge issue for them, isn't it? Like a huge, huge issue. So we'll see. Good afternoon, Kath. So we gonna see. I think this is Lando's race to lose. However, the Ferraris did have good race pace on their simulations, and they seemed to be good on their tires. So we'll see. Really, it'll be interesting to see if the Ferraris could match the McLarens. That's going to be interesting. So we'll see. I don't think Mercedes will have the pace. To be honest, I'm not sure the Mercedes are going to have the pace of the Ferraris and the McLarens. And it would be. I have no idea where Red Bull are going to be on race pace. So there's a few unknowns here. I will be a little bit surprised if Lando pulls away from the Ferraris, like in Zandvoort, but we'll see. How you doing, Tom? I will say this: in the last couple of races, George Russell has, even without DRS, has made it very hard for cars behind him to get past. But before qualifying in FP3, he complained of balance issues. Now, I don't know if they changed anything for qualifying, and he didn't do a huge amount of long running. So we're going to see how his long run pace is and how he's able to manage the tires, George Russell. So we're going to kind of find that out in real time. That'll be interesting. Oh, excuse me. Meant to be a one-stop as well. Well, yeah, this is exactly the weird thing, Johnny, because Max Verstappen on his final lap in qualifying, or in Q3, he did a run on. Thanks, Joe. Didn't have to do that. He did a run on scrub tires and put his lap in, and he was much slower on newer tires, and he couldn't understand why. And you notice that actually to an extent with even the other cars didn't improve massively on newer tires. So, and I think it was yesterday in FP2, Charles Leclerc did his fastest time on a set of soft tires that had done like 10 laps. So yeah, something. Obviously, the circuit's been relayed, so there might be something with the just the track surface. I don't know, that once the tires have shredded some rubber, they're just giving them more performance. Weird, isn't it? So, like a tenth and a half, or I think just over a tenth and a half was the difference between first and sixth. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. So the previous 4 pole sitters at Monza failed to win the race. Lando Norris as well. He has a tendency to not lead the first lap once he starts on pole. So 40% chance of rain. Christ. Yeah, from last place. I can't remember his name. The guy that won. From last place, though, man. Fair play. I think the Formula 3 race went to the last corner or something as well. I didn't see the F3 race, but well, the grid's clearing, so I'm guessing everyone's starting on the mediums. Okay, so everyone's starting on the mediums apart from Verstappen and Perez, who have both elected to start on the hard tyres. And then further down the field, Ocon, Tsunoda, Stroll, and Bottas are starting on the hards. Everyone else on the mediums. No one's opted for softs. So in the top 10, Perez and Verstappen starting on the hard tyres. Interesting. That's the lad, Tilbo, yeah. That's the lad. He potentially is in line for a Sauber seat, so, I mean, that won't have done him any harm, will it? And Isaac Hadjar didn't score any. The championship leader in Formula 2 scored no points in the entire Monza weekend. He didn't score any points in the sprint and the feature race. Yeah, I don't remember people doing much running on the hards. It was very much soft and medium. We're going to see. We're going to see how the hards cope. Oh, my God, yawning. Yeah, if there's an early safety car, then the hard tyres will... That's when they'll lose out massively, but... Well, it's only a 40% chance of rain, so I mean, I don't think it's going to rain. It looks boiling there. I don't think rain's going to be a concern. I'm guessing they just think it might be worth doing an alternate strategy. Colapinto's bloody miles behind. What the hell? There's a huge gap. I suppose it will bunch up at Parabolica, but Zhou Guanyu hasn't even gone through Ascari yet. Norris is lining up on the grid, and Zhou Guanyu just gone through Ascari. You don't want to be sat in this heat for too long. Right. Why is Zhou Guanyu going so slow? Jesus Christ. I suppose the cars ahead of him are going slow, to be fair. Colapinto, fucking crack on, mate. Way too long. Anyway, right, they've all lined up. Green flag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go. Oh, it's a good start from Russell. Norris had a good start for once. Oh, George Russell's off. Oh, how is that going to be dealt with? Oh, George has fucked it. Norris, Russell's behind one of the Red Bulls. Oh, Norris, Piastri's gone through first, and now Charles Leclerc's up in second. Lando Norris can't hold the lead again. Lando Norris just can't stay in the lead for one lap. Oh, what is that? What the hell? It's loads of gravel. One of the cars off there going into Ascari. Bloody hell. Norris under pressure from Carlos Sainz. Yeah, Oscar kind of did take Lando by surprise there. Oh, Verstappen whining about Lewis. Jesus Christ. I need to see it again. I'll be honest, Johnny. I was looking a bit further back, so I didn't see it. I just caught it as Charles Leclerc was putting pressure on Lando, so I'm going to need to see it again. It's going to be close between the Ferraris and the McLarens here. It's going to be very close. There's a lot of dirt. I think that's what we saw. I don't know whether someone went wide and pulled a load of dirt onto the track. Did George make contact? Because he went off into turn 1, but I didn't see exactly what happened. So, yeah, maybe George made contact with someone. Well, the thing is, Piastri doing that has actually put McLaren under pressure. Norris has lost a position, and now he's under pressure from a Ferrari as well. So, yeah. So Perez is saying George has a lot of damage. And Johnny just said as well that there was something hanging off the car. I'm just trying to catch it when he comes past. I mean, George basically lost out massively. Absolutely devastating for him from starting in third down to seventh on the first lap. Maybe he had a bit of the polybar. Oh, yeah, he's missing the whole end plate of his front wing. He's missing the end plate of his front wing. I don't think it's dangerous though, because it's already fallen off. It's already gone, so I don't think it's dangerous. It'll probably be causing him a little bit of understeer or whatever. I have to see what happened to George to cause it. We haven't seen a replay. I can rewind, but I don't want to miss anything, so I'm just going to wait for the replay to see exactly how that transpired. It was very tight into turn one, isn't it? Red Bull's doing all right at the minute, though. I think they'll be very happy with where they are. Okay, we've got a replay of the start. George had a really good start. Norris had a good start, but so did Piastri. Oh, Lewis made contact with one of the Ferraris as well. Oh, George just went in too deep. Piastri slowed down, and Norris just got caught. George Russell just got caught sleeping a little bit. He just had to bail out of it. Oh, Piastri, I think, caught Russell's wing. I think it was Piastri that took his wing off, you know. And he did catch the bollard as well. Yeah, bloody hell. I mean, to be fair... I mean, it was a fair enough move from Piastri. He had a run on him. I mean... Hamilton's fallen out of DRS of Sainz now, by the way. Norris is out of the DRS of Charles Leclerc as well. You know, I agree. I think the move was fair, but I agree that... I think the reason I would say it's a little bit over the top is actually because his teammate, Norris, is actually fighting potentially for a championship. And not only has he got past him, but he's ruined him to the point where a Ferrari's got past him. So from a team perspective there, just play the team game for a few laps. Just play the team game for a few laps. He didn't need to send it there. He really didn't need to send it. But from his perspective, it was good. But from a team perspective, not great, was it? Yeah, I think it's put them under a little bit of pressure, hasn't it? Hey, Boots. Oh, what is going on with Hulkenberg? What a ruinous pit stop. They changed his front wing very late. Oh, Jesus. That's a penalty. That's a penalty for Hulkenberg. That is way too late. He smashed into his side pod. Yeah, that's the most slam dunk penalty I've ever seen. Charles Leclerc still holding on to Oscar Piastri at the minute. Considering George Russell's got a little bit of damage, I think he's doing fine. I think he'll be pretty happy. Well, maybe not happy, but not unhappy. I don't think Max Verstappen will be very unhappy at the minute. He's running in 6th. He's on the hard tyres. I don't think he'll be that upset, to be honest. They have told the McLaren guys that they're free to race, but I think... Do you know what it is? This weekend, they were both on the front row, and their main championship rivals, in both the constructors and the drivers, were down in 6th and 8th. If there was any race to say, listen, guys, just don't go at each other to begin with, it was this one. Like, let's keep first and second. Let's just keep first and second for the first few laps, yeah? Because Norris is in... If Norris finishes 3rd, that's fine. He's still making points on Verstappen, but this is his chance to capitalise. A win here, if Verstappen finishes in 6th, is a big chunk of points. Oh, they're having to retire Yuki Tsunoda because of the damage from Hulkenberg. Oh no. It was a reckless move by the Hulk, to be fair. It's a fair bit of floor damage you can see there. So, Verstappen is doing pretty quick lap times on the hards, pretty decent lap times. Piastri did a 24.5, Leclerc did a 24.5, and Norris did a 24.6. Then Sainz and Hamilton are doing 24.8s. Penalty for Ricciardo? What was that for? Hi, Willie. Forcing another car off the track. That must have been down into a scary with Hulkenberg. Was that the one earlier in the race when Hulkenberg went wide onto the grass? That must have been Daniel Ricciardo. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, he's done that to Hulkenberg, and then Hulkenberg's absolutely fucking... Yeah, Hulkenberg. That might be a 10-second for Hulk. Yeah. 10-second for Hulkenberg. I mean, that was coming. That was at least a 10-second penalty. He absolutely torpedoed into Yuki Tsunoda. And he's put him out of the race as well, so... I wonder if Fernando Alonso is regretting re-signing with Aston Martin. Because he kind of re-signed with them when they were doing pretty well and looking good, and now they're struggling to get in the top 10 again. What I'm taking from what we've seen in the first 10 laps is that Mercedes don't have the pace of Ferrari and McLaren, but they may have the measure of Red Bull. It's hard to tell because obviously Red Bull on the hard tires. Well, yeah, but I mean, he's, you know, Fernando's a lot older now, isn't he? So, you know, he might want to not bother if he can go and do something else in a winning car, you know? It's not like he's not won. Perez is right behind George Russell now. Oh, Perez. I mean, I think Perez is going to be passed here. Yeah. That's Perez, DRS. I mean, George Russell isn't going to give it up, but... Yeah. I think Russell's potentially going to struggle a little bit more with, you know, maybe understeer in the middle of this stint because of that end plate. We've seen cars, though, have their end plate missing and done just fine. It just depends on the circuit. They're already boxing George. Oh, is Colapinto gone? Oh, wait, hold on. Sometimes it does this. There we go, hold on. Boom, there you go. It does that sometimes. So they're boxing. They're having to change his front wing. Oh, George. Very early, though, for a one-stop. It's early, and he's got to change the front wing. It was a quick stop considering they had to change the wing, to be fair. He's going to have some... George Russell's going to have some work to do now. He's going to have some work because he's come out in 16th. And he's now got to go to the end of the race on these hard tyres, so... It would be something special if Perez just crept up on Max Verstappen, wouldn't it? That would be interesting to see, just to see what would happen. So who's doing the fastest laps at the minute? As we see Alonso pit in. Piastri on a 24.7, Leclerc 24.9. Norris doing a 24.6. Sainz did a 25.2. Hamilton is in the 24.9. Verstappen 24.9. Perez did a 24.6. I don't really understand how Aston Martin have gone so far backwards. Honestly, I think if you just take looks of a car, and I know this doesn't mean anything, because we know from these generation that it's all to do with the underneath. It's all to do with the underneath and the underfloor and the way everything works. But when I saw that Aston Martin, I thought, this looks good at the start of the season. But it's not worked for them, has it? Oof, Norris a little bit wide through the second, Lesmo. So, Verstappen is closing up on Lewis Hamilton now. He was 4/10 of a lap quicker, 4/10 quicker on that last lap. And Hamilton won't really want Verstappen getting in DRS, because once he's there, it'll be impossible to shake him. And Verstappen is now within DRS. And Norris is very close to Charles Leclerc now. Oh, they're boxing. They're going to box. Oh! He locked up big time into the pits. He even hit the bollard. He hit the foam bollard. That's going to be close, guys. That's going to be close. Verstappen is now well within DRS of Hamilton as well. So Hamilton obviously struggling. This is going to be interesting. Norris better hope he got that car slowed down in time. He better hope. I'm just watching the replay of him coming into the pits. Oh, that... It looked out of control coming into the pits, didn't it? They're boxing Hamilton, yeah. And Charles Leclerc. So yeah, Norris is now ahead of Charles Leclerc. They're now going to box Piastri. I mean, Piastri might be in trouble from Norris here. They've not done this to Piastri again, have they? It's going to be interesting to see where Piastri... Sainz thinking everyone's going to struggle to go to the end. Is Norris going to get past Piastri? No. I think Piastri will still stay in first, yeah. He will still stay ahead. Yeah, Charles Leclerc's made a good point there. He's like, why have we pitted if we knew we'd been undercut anyway? I think what he's thinking is once they pitted, his mindset is, well, why have we done that? We know we've already been undercut. We may as well go long and try and do something different. Which is a valid point, to be fair. I mean, it's a valid question. So now Charles Leclerc is running behind Norris. He's been undercut by Norris. And so, yeah. What did he say? Cover for the other car. It'll be papaya rules. I'm not really sure what that means. Don't know. So Daniel Ricciardo's had a 10-second penalty for not serving his 5-second penalty correctly. Oh, dear. Oh, the front engineer touched the wing. Oh, and he knew straight away. He knew he'd done it. Oh. Oh, you hate to see it. Oh, you hate to see it. Oh, you'd be fuming, wouldn't you? He's come into the pit box. The engineer's touched the front wing. And he then took his hands off it and he knew straight away. So, because of that, Ricciardo served 5 seconds. And because a mechanic touched the car, he now has to come in and serve another 10. Or it'll be added onto his time. Because of that mechanic's mistake. Oh, God, that's rough, isn't it? Hmm. Oof. Yeah, listen. Everyone makes mistakes, don't they? Drivers, everyone, mechanics included. It is what it is. I mean, it sucks for Daniel Ricciardo, but Carlos Sainz now pitting. Hamilton is now quite a way behind the Ferraris, though. Like, he's quite a way behind the Ferraris. Because Hamilton and Sainz are 8.7 seconds behind Leclerc, Norris, and that lot. So they've fallen quite far behind. Well, Verstappen and Perez are going to be able to put the mediums on at the end, so... Very quick lap time from Charles Leclerc. 23.8. 23.8 from Norris as well. 23.9 from Piastri. See, Verstappen did a 25.5. So he needs to pick up the pace a little bit. Obviously, his tyres have done 20 laps. What was up with Sainz's start? Hamilton already out of DRS of Carlos Sainz. The Mercedes doesn't have the pace around here. It doesn't have the pace of the McLaren and the Ferrari. Oh, Magnussen. I mean, yeah. Oh, there was a little bit of contact, but I think they'll let that slide. I know what you mean now. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, it does seem odd. I grant you that it's odd. Why would they want Norris? I mean, if you were Piastri and Piastri can't win the championship now, I don't see why you wouldn't be playing the team game. I feel like they must have had a word with him and said, listen, we're going to let you race, but if there's an opportunity, it makes sense for us to get points off Max here. And I'm sure, Oscar wouldn't like it, but... Oh, terrible stop for Verstappen. 6-second stop for Verstappen there. His right rear didn't go on. So Max Verstappen is doing a 2-stop. So they're saying to Norris, you can race Oscar, papaya rules. So they obviously have a set of rules for racing fairly in the team. They're saying you can race, but... Yeah, they're doing a 2-stop at Red Bull because Max has gone hard, so he has to stop again. Oh, he's hitting the wheel. He was hitting the wheel in the pit lane. Like, Jesus Christ. Max, come on. Bad pit stops happen, like. He's a competitive guy. I completely understand it, but... Oh my God, yeah. Perez is going to be ahead of Verstappen. Lol. Oh, no? No? How is Verstappen still ahead of Perez? How is Verstappen still ahead of Perez when Verstappen had a 6-second stop? Like, Bloody hell, Perez. Your teammate just had a 6-second stop and you're still behind him. So, we're kind of net where we were now. Piastri still leading. Norris has obviously got ahead of Leclerc in the pit stop, so Norris is now running second. Then you've got Charles Leclerc in third. Because of Sainz staying out a little bit later and Hamilton staying a little bit later, they're like 10, 11 seconds off third place now, so they're quite a way back. Then you have Verstappen, who's 7.5 seconds behind Hamilton, but we know he has to stop again. He has to. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Max can't go to the end of the race even if he wanted to. Where's George Russell? George Russell currently in 9th. He's just behind Ocon. But we know that both Red Bulls ahead of him have to stop again. So there is possibility for George Russell to potentially get up to sort of 6th place, I think, still. I still think there's a chance for him, you know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sainz is 11 seconds. Sainz stayed out on those medium tyres for a long time, though. I don't understand necessarily how Hamilton is so far behind. But Hamilton and Sainz, 11, 12 seconds off third place. Sainz kind of makes sense because he stayed out on the medium tyres for another 4 or so laps. So that kind of makes sense as to why he's so far behind. But yeah, he's a fair way behind. I tell you what, Piastri's doing quick lap times. Well, we know that Perez and Verstappen will stop again. So what they'll put on during the second stop is presumably a set, on the last stop for them, they'll put on a set of mediums. So Russell is only at 1.6 seconds behind Perez. So I think when Perez stops again, I think Russell will have the pace to stay ahead of him. Verstappen's another 7.5 seconds up the road, so I think Verstappen will be able to catch Russell, maybe. But George actually has a chance at a bit of a recovery here. Piastri is currently a bit quicker than Norris, pulling out a bit of a gap. Charles Leclerc, yeah, Charles Leclerc's doing really well. Still not as quick as the two McLarens, though. Ferrari brought huge upgrades this weekend, but they're not quite enough in race pace to match the McLaren. Like, Piastri's flying. As always happens, the McLaren is lightning quick in the second phase of the race. Hmm. So if it stays this way, McLaren and Red Bull will be level on points in the constructors. Ooh. Spicy. $23 flat for Norris now. Two McLarens, I think, are really pushing at the front there, pushing each other more than anything. Yeah, McLaren. This is McLaren's race to lose. The Ferrari of Charles Leclerc has good pace, but it's not the pace of the McLarens. And Carlos Sainz doesn't have the pace. Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton are doing similar lap times, but it's half a second or more slower than the cars ahead. Also, I can't keep up with all the penalties for Daniel Ricciardo and Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hulkenberg. I have no idea where that is. I can't keep up with it. I think Daniel Ricciardo still has his 10-second penalty that he hasn't served. So that's going to ruin him. And I think Hulkenberg still got his 10-second penalty as well. Russell is almost within DRS of Sergio Perez as well. So Russell is within DRS, and we know Perez has to stop. And I'm not sure Perez is going to have the pace to catch George Russell after he stops. I mean, we'll find out. I will say this, George Russell's tyres have been on his car since what? They've been on 17 laps now, George Russell. And they've got to do another 23. So they need to do 40 laps. So Russell may struggle for outright pace toward the end of the race. I mean, the cars ahead are not massively better. Like, Norris has had those hard tyres on for 15 laps. Hamilton, 14. You know, Sainz obviously has the best at 10. Colapinto. We haven't really spoke about Colapinto. He's currently running in 15th. Yeah, I kind of agree. I don't see Hamilton putting any pressure on Sainz. I don't really see Sainz getting anywhere near Charles Leclerc. I mean, he's losing time, not gaining it. I'm not sure I see Charles Leclerc catching Norris. And I'll be honest, Norris is actually dropping back from Piastri. Piastri just did a 22.9. So Norris did a 23.6 and Piastri did a 22.9. Has Norris just pitted? Has Norris just pitted? Oh, Russell! I mean, he's going to have to give that position back. He was out of control. The timing screens just showed Charles Leclerc ahead of Norris. Norris is now 5 seconds behind Piastri. Has he made a mistake? Norris must have made a mistake, guys. He just lost 2 seconds. Unless the time... Yeah, Lando's gone off. We saw it very briefly switch positions as well, so I'm going to need to see that again on a replay. I'm going to need to see that again, because I wonder if he kept that position when he shouldn't have. George Russell did not need a lockup on those tyres either, trying to get past Perez. He definitely didn't need a lockup, considering Perez has to start. So we're watching it now down into the second chicane. I assume Lando's just going to snatch a break and just go over the runoff. Yeah. And he had to go around the bollard. He knew he wasn't going to make the corner, and he has to go around the bollard because them's the rules. Yeah. Perez didn't leave him a whole lot of space. We saw something very similar with Verstappen and Hamilton a few years ago, didn't we? Well, yeah. Well, yeah, Perez, he gives you the position and then he races you. That's racing. That's racing, Sergio. He gives you the position, covers the rules. Lando Norris is pitting, guys. Gives you the position, satisfies the rules, then he races you. Welcome to Formula One. Oh, it wasn't a great stop. 3.3 seconds. Yeah, Lando capitulated a little bit there, didn't he? Max Verstappen will get past, but we know Verstappen has to stop, so it's not a big deal. George Russell on the grass there. He's a little bit leery, isn't he, George? Now, are they going to stop Piastri or are they going to go to the end of the race? Because if I'm Ferrari and they stop Piastri, I probably try and hang it out until the end. What do you think? I think if I'm Charles Leclerc, I'd probably hang it out until the end. Yeah, I thought Verstappen was going to start catching Hamilton, but he hasn't. Because, I mean, Verstappen's doing very similar. They're doing very similar times. I thought maybe he'd catch, but he hasn't. And obviously, he lost a ton of time in the pits, didn't he? So Verstappen and Hamilton just doing, like, identical lap times. And Sainz as well. Sainz, Hamilton, Verstappen, all just doing very similar times. Russell is pitting again. Oh. Now, is that planned, or is that because he locked his tyres? A shit stop again for Russell. 4.2 seconds. Jesus Christ, George is having a stinker. He's having an absolute stinker. I think most of these guys are going to stop again. In fairness to George, I think most of these guys are going to do another stop. It seems like. I'd be surprised if the Ferraris and those didn't do another stop then. Charles Leclerc did pretty much the exact same lap time as Piastri. Lando Norris is going quick on his fresh tyres. Oh, hey. Lando Norris has come out just behind Max Verstappen, guys. Max is obviously going to pit at some point, though. That's not even the incident. That replay there isn't the incident. Yeah, Kevin Magnussen's been getting a lot of overtakes done, hasn't he? I'm not sure Alex Albon felt good about that one, though. I mean, I'm now thinking that if this is Piastri's race to win, and if Piastri does go on to win this race, you have to say fair play for that killer instinct on the first lap to get a move done on his teammate. It takes balls, especially knowing his teammate is in a championship fight, and if he fucks it up, the team, aren't going to be very happy. So if he does go on to win this race, you have to say, do you know what? Fair play. He got the move done, and he's had the pace to hold it. So Lando has to fix his starts. Lando has to fix his starts because Lando, when he starts pole, he simply doesn't make it to the end of the first lap. To be fair, his start wasn't bad. Necessarily, was it? Today. What did Crofty say? I was talking. Did he say? Did Crofty say something? So Russell is actually now behind Perez because Russell had to stop again. Do you want me to race him? And they said yes. Why? He's got to stop again. What are you wasting time fighting Norris for? This isn't your fight. Why would GP tell him to race Norris? Well, I know that they're fighting him in the drivers and everything, but that isn't their race. Is it? That's not their race. They know Max has to stop again. Norris is on fresh tyres. It feels like it's more just going to cost yourself time. Anyway, I suppose it doesn't matter. I suppose they're just hoping that if they can hold Norris up a little bit, he can fall behind Charles Leclerc or something as Hamilton pits. I'm guessing they're just hoping if they cost him some time, Charles Leclerc can catch him and they'll gain a bit, I guess. I suppose that's their mindset, which to some extent you can understand. It's like, okay, well, we're not going to win this race and he's probably going to get past us, but let's try and cost him a few seconds and maybe... I suppose that I can understand to a certain extent. Because who is Max racing at this point? Hamilton... George Russell and Perez. I mean, he barely made the corner, though. He barely made the corner. Oh, this is spicy with Perez and Russell. Bloody hell. Yeah, to be fair, Perez didn't leave him a car's width there, did he? Then Russell barely made the corner, but that wasn't his fault. Piastri's pitted now. So it's down to the two Ferraris, see what they do. I mean, Verstappen's running in fourth right now, but obviously we know he has to stop. But I mean, it looks like... I mean, the thing is, I'm not really sure what he can do other than... because, I mean, Norris will be passed on the straight, surely, with DRS. I mean, what's Norris going to do? What's Verstappen going to do? Just watching this Perez-Russell thing again, I think... Oh, yeah, that's naughty by Perez. Listen, I'll be the first one to say George, you know, has done something wrong, but that is naughty by Perez. He kept moving left, and I don't think that was I don't think that was good by Perez. If there was an accident there, that would have 100% been his fault. Norris is going to be past Max Verstappen here on the straight, without a shadow of a doubt. Oh, I tell you what. No. He forces him to not. Max manages to hold it. Oh, Red Bull are being a bit twatty here, really, are they? Like, the race isn't with Norris, and they know that. They know that Max isn't racing Lando. So... Lando's going to have to stay behind him for another lap now. If Norris is close enough into the Parabolica, there really won't be much that Max can do. He can only just go defensive on the inside and force Lando to go around the outside. You know, that's all he can really do. Yeah, Lando's passed. Nice move from Lando. It was a tidy move from Lando. That tidy move, came back across, made sure that Max couldn't get back on him. But as he's doing that, Piastri just did the fastest lap of the race, a 22.2. Norris, on the other hand, did a 24.1 because he was fighting Verstappen. So Norris is now 4.1 seconds behind Piastri. Here's a question. Are Ferrari going to pit, guys? I don't think Ferrari are going to pit again. I said this because if McLaren's are pitting, their best chance of winning this race is to stay out. No point risking it. Just give it a chance. You might win. I think there's a very good chance that they could make it to the end. Because they're going to lose if they don't do it, so they may as well try it. Ferrari could get a 1-2 here and really catch McLaren napping, you know. Having said that, Piastri is lightning quick. 22 flat across the line. The cars ahead, the two Ferraris, did a 23.6 and a 23.3. So, I mean... So, you know, they're Piastri's 1000% going to get Sainz. It's the question, I suppose, is will he get Leclerc? I think it's worth the risk. Because worst case scenario, they drop behind both McLarens, which is where they were anyway. Because Hamilton's far enough behind. So it's worth the risk. It is absolutely worth the risk for Ferrari. It's the play. See if you can get to the end, and we take a risk. If we can make it work, then great. If I'm Ferrari, I tell Carlos Sainz to hold up Piastri as best he can. Well, Mercedes simply don't have any race pace, do they? To be fair, they didn't think they were going to have race pace. Toto said that their race pace in their simulations were one of the worst, which I agree with. They didn't have great race pace in FP2 and FP3. And they suffer a lot in these hotter temperatures. So I can't say I'm surprised that they've not been a match to Ferrari and McLaren. It's somewhat expected. Also, can we talk about this? Perez got mugged by George Russell. Perez was on fresh mediums. Russell was on fresh hards. Like, what is Perez doing, man? How has that happened? Ten laps to go. I mean, his tires don't look great, but like we've said, it's a risk, isn't it? It's a risk worth taking. Ultimately, if Piastri gets past them, they've lost nothing because that's where they were anyway. So take the risk. Perez can't even get past Magnussen on hard tires. I mean, come on, Sergio. I think 21 for Max Verstappen. Oof. Perez gets past Magnussen. And he's now 3.6 seconds behind George Russell. That's that's the meme there. To be fair, George Russell, I think, has done well to get back to 7th. I do think he's done well to get back to 7th. He was in that position because of his own making, though. He's had a bit of a scruffy race, hasn't he? But he's done well to get back there. Oscar Piastri is now right behind Carlos Sainz. If he wants a chance of winning this race, he needs to dispatch of Carlos Sainz sharpish. Yeah, I mean, Piastri would have to have lightning pace once he gets past Sainz to catch Charles Leclerc, wouldn't he? He would have to have real lightning pace. Hamilton just did a 22-1. Where's that come from? Oh my god, he's done him on the back straight. He's done him on the back straight. And he's pulled a gap on him. Oof. Now we see what Oscar Piastri can do. Hmm. Norris did a 22.3. Yeah, they drop off in pace, don't they? But there's no. I wouldn't say there's like a cliff necessarily on some of these tires like there used to be. There's a noticeable pace drop off, but not like one lap they're fine and the next lap they're just gone. It seems to be reasonably gradual. So Norris is now right. Sainz is really struggling, by the way. Sainz is 2 seconds a lap off the pace. The good thing for Charles Leclerc is he's actually doing some pretty good lap times. Yeah, this is the strat, Tilbo. It's all or nothing. They stay out and they take a chance. The worst case scenario for Ferrari, I think, is that they finish in third and fourth, which is where they were anyway. So I think it's a strategy that's absolutely worth taking. It's a risk that is worth taking. There's not many laps left. There's like 7 laps left, and Piastri's 10.2 seconds behind. So he'd have to be well over a second a lap quicker than Charles Leclerc to catch him. It's worth taking a chance. Absolutely worth it. If I don't do things you ask, don't ask 10 times. That's fair. Verstappen hasn't had the pace that I thought he was going to have on those medium tyres. He just did a 22.9, Lewis did a 22.3, and Russell did a 22.4. Yeah, it's very much been Ferrari versus... It's kind of interesting to see, though, isn't it? Seeing the old Ferrari versus McLaren fights. You know, it's cool. Yeah, there's nothing Sainz can do about that. Absolutely nothing he can do. I think if Norris doesn't win this race, which, by the way, it's looking like he won't, that'll be a huge let-off for Red Bull. A huge let-off. Because he will be gaining 10 points less than he would have if he'd have finished first. And if he'd have finished first, that would have put the points down into like the 50s between him and Max. So that would have been a concern. But as it stands at the minute, he's only going to be third. Yeah, I think it's a Leclerc, but there's only 5 laps to go. The gap's 8.3 seconds. Last time across the line, Leclerc did a 23.5, Piastri did a 22.7, and Norris did a 21.8. Ultimately, 0.8 of a second for Piastri isn't enough. If Leclerc can hold this pace for another 5 laps, he's won. Easy mode. What? Can people in the background be awake? Is he talking about his garage, Max Verstappen, there? I'm not sure. Oh, yeah. I mean, Charles Leclerc ain't pitting now. Christ, no. He's staying out, and what will be, will be. And honestly, he's got the pace right now. Almost 8 seconds, 3 laps to go. He can ease off a little bit on those tyres, and he'll still make it. If I'm McLaren, I'd be thinking about swapping the McLarens. Because, yeah, if the win isn't on, it might be worth saying, you know, Oscar, the win isn't on. Can we swap these positions for the World Championship? 3 points might not seem like a lot, but they need every single point they can get. I also think, based on the positions, them running what first and second, this is a bit of a blunder by McLaren to not win this race. Don't you think? Bit of a blunder to let Ferrari do that one stop and be mugged off like this when you were winning first and second, to be honest. I feel like this McLaren will rue this one. Yeah, Colapinto's running in 13th place. A couple of positions behind Albon, admittedly, but, you know, he's doing all right. No, Piastri's not been quick enough. He hasn't had the pace to catch Charles Leclerc. So it's Leclerc's race to win. What I don't understand is Carlos Sainz put his tyres on 4 laps later than Charles Leclerc, but his pace has gone off a cliff. Carlos Sainz has lost 8-9 seconds to Lewis Hamilton. Like, he was really slow. So Charles Leclerc has definitely made the difference, for sure. God, yeah, Charles Leclerc. That means Charles Leclerc would have won in Monaco and Monza. His home race and his team's home race. That's wild. Perez being 10 seconds behind George Russell. Bloody hell. The Tifosi will go wild. Yeah, I don't think, based on what we've seen in terms of race pace, I don't think Mercedes had anything better than 5th, did they? I think even Russell, based on what we've seen, he started in 3rd, but I think the Ferraris and the McLarens would have been, you know, easily stayed ahead of him, or got ahead of him, wouldn't they? I think both those Ferraris would have got past both Mercedes, regardless of who started in 3rd, based on the race pace we've seen. Yeah, Stroll just pitted for softs for some reason. I'm not quite sure why. Bloody Del Piero. Unbelievable, Jeff. I mean, hey, fair play from Charles Leclerc. He's made the one stop last, and the McLarens have let one slip here. They've let one slip, and with Russell, Max Verstappen down in 6th, I actually think Norris losing out on 10 points is very significant, because Norris should have won this race. In theory, or he had the chance to win this race, I should say. And him not winning with Verstappen being down in 6th, even though he's gaining points on Verstappen, he could have gained 10 more. Charles Leclerc. Around the parabolica. Hey! What a race. What a race from Charles Leclerc. Fair play. Piastri and Norris. Norris, once again, can't hold his lead on the first lap. Do you know what? We could even pinpoint where this race started to go wrong, and that was Piastri sending it on Norris on the first lap, to tell you the truth. Norris ending up behind Charles Leclerc is actually where it started to go wrong for McLaren. I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot in this race a little bit. Oh, Lando Norris got the fastest lap as well on the final lap. Hamilton did a 21.5, Norris did a 21.4, so Norris steals that fastest point from Verstappen. So that's a 2-point swing because it would have gone to Verstappen. It's not Piastri's fault. If McLaren don't give him orders to do it and he's free to race, he's seen an opportunity to go past Norris and he's taken it. So it's not his fault. Yeah, Albon finished 9th actually because of Magnussen's penalty. Oh yeah, I think McLaren have made a mistake there. They've made a mistake. They've made a mistake in not keeping those drivers 1 and 2 at the beginning part of the race. And to let Ferrari win there, I think was a bit of a mistake on McLaren's part as well, but and yet you've got 2 good drivers, and Piastri has taken points off Lando today when Lando needed those points. Lando will get, what, 15 for 3rd, plus fastest lap, so he'll get 16. But he would have had potentially 26. He could have had 10 more. And so also, I apologize for YouTube chat. My chat was hidden and I didn't realize. I just assumed there was no one there. So apology, Afro Zoo Shock, for the YouTube chat. It was simply hidden. So what will Max get? 8 points. So Norris will only gain 8 points on Max instead of 18. I mean, that's huge though, isn't it? With them running out of races, that's huge. Let's just have a look. So 70 points difference currently. So he'll be 62 points behind Max. But he could have been 54. And how many races have we got left now? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 races. So let's assume Lando won every single race from here on in, which he isn't going to do. That's 8 points every race. Wait, how many races did I say was left? Did I say there was 8 races left? One, two, three, four, five, six. Yeah, 8. So he can get if he won every race and Max finished second, he would surpass him now, I think. But he isn't going to win every race. Piastri's going to sneak points. Charles Leclerc, maybe Mercedes in the odd race. Max is presumably going to come back. So every point is needed. Every single point. Yeah, Ferrari got the strategy bang on. They took it. The thing is, though, Mercedes' poor pace helped Ferrari make that strategy. Because, essentially, they were running 3rd and 4th, and if their strategy didn't work, they were going to end 3rd and 4th. And if their strategy worked, they could win the race. It's literally, there was a no-lose scenario there. It was a no-lose scenario. So, ultimately, I think they made the right call. And it's, but Charles Leclerc still had to do it, because Carlos Sainz couldn't pull it off, and Carlos Sainz had fresher tyres. Carlos Sainz still couldn't make that work. He struggled for pace. And so, yeah. This season has turned so much on its head compared to where it was in the first few races. Red Bull are struggling. And we're now seeing races where Red Bull are getting outpaced by a McLaren, a Ferrari, and a Mercedes. Now, I don't expect that in every race, but listen, if all of a sudden Norris starts getting podiums and Max starts finishing 5th and 6th, he's going to eat into those points real quick. So, yeah, this is... Red Bull, I think, are going to be concerned. I think Red Bull are going to be concerned. It's going to be spicy, boys and girls. It's going to be spicy. And right, with that in mind, I'm off. I'm going to go make some food. We've got a lovely piece of beef for dinner. The football's on as well. Man United playing Liverpool. Oh, baby. So, yeah. Gonna have a lovely time. Dinner in this economy? I mean, we do have to eat, don't we? Food's allowed, isn't it? Wait, food's allowed, right? I'm allowed food? No? No? Right, I will see you all tomorrow. Have a lovely rest of your weekend. Thank you for joining me. Sorry for ignoring you on YouTube. My bad. The chat was covered and I simply didn't realise. I love you all. Thank you very, very much. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.